Excellence, and let us all put our hands together as I invite on stage Ms. Pallavi Srinivasa, Head India Market Strategy, Cisco. Let's put our hands together. I'm sure the tea has given us a lot of fresh thinking, so I'm sure we can be more energetic than that. So let's truly put our hands together for the lady. Thank you all. Welcome, Pallavi.
Hello? Can you all hear me? All right. So we are technology people. We can't talk without slides. So we're waiting for the slides here. So while we are bringing that up, my name is Pallavi Srinivasa. As they mentioned that, I'm the head of market strategy for Cisco. Now let me ask you a question before I begin the presentation. How many of you are aware that Cisco has a bigger role and plays and has invested in the OT space? I just want to see a hand raised. All right, this is fantastic. This is a good forum for us to bring in Cisco and tell you what we're doing along with our partner. So with that, let me start my presentation. Cisco, whenever we bring up Cisco systems, people think of us as, oh, this is an IT company working on the routers and switches. We are the enablers. We are the plumber for everything that's going on. However, our CEO and our company has invested heavily in the OT space and also in many other areas. To give you an example, in the smart connected cities, we have our presence there as well as to how you can use technology in all of these areas to get ahead and get a lot more productive, okay? With that said, what I'm gonna do is walk you through what are some of the benefits that Cisco brings to the table with Connected Factory, and then what architecture and what benefits you can get from that. I won't go into details, I promise. And then what are the building blocks, and what are we planning to do in the India space with our partner Coaxis. And then our partner would come on stage and show you exactly all the details and show you a little bit of demo as to how you can take this solution today and run with it. Okay? If I can get this working. Okay, great. So what are the care-abouts in a connected factory? The first and foremost, whenever we talk to our manufacturing clients, whenever we talk to our industrial clients, the first and foremost thing that comes up is if you can increase that efficiency a little bit more, if you can reduce the downtime this much smaller, I could be doing a whole lot of things. Now, to give you an example, there's a big manufacturing industry across the globe. I don't know if I can say the name, but they are into aeroplane engines, they're into healthcare, they're into pretty much everything that you can imagine. And their concern was, if you can, in my aircraft engines that I produce, if you can tweak and make it 1% more efficient, that will increase my revenue by 300 million. That's a huge. I mean, we don't see that on the IT side of the house, but we are always optimizing and tuning things. But that's a fantastic argument why you should be looking at technology. And the other highlight of the industrial clients is I have all these sensors deployed. I have all this information that I collect from machines and from my workers that are going around. But how do I connect these and make use of this? So data leading to wisdom, right? Today, if I put something through the manufacturing process, I won't know about the quality of that, or whether it meets my market needs, till it actually has gone through months of cycles of time and has come out, right? By then, you would have invested so much of time. But if I can look at it at every stage and make corrections at that particular stage, I would have saved a lot of money. I would have produced a better quality of product, all right? Now, the third one is the security. Yes, technology is great. I can implement it here and there, but what about security? Now, anybody can come into my plant. Anybody can have access to my data. That's not true. So we've gone through this for every industry. Security is humongous, and we always embed that whenever we have the technology. In fact, we say that you provide an identity to either a thing or a human accessing that network, and wherever you want that thing or a human to go to in the network, only there you can see these things or humans. So it's highly secure. That's the benefit that you get from the Cisco Connected Factory. Now, how do we visualize this, or how does Cisco look at this from an architecture standpoint? So when we talk about all these benefits, we think of factory automation, we think of wireless. But here, you can see that we work from the main customer pain point, and if you see at the bottom, what is the business outcome that you're looking at? So we are focused on how much that marginal operational efficiency that you want to gain to increase your revenue, or what kind of security are you looking at? Or if you look at wireless, you might think, why the hell do I need wireless? But if you want to be able to locate individual parts that is lying in some other warehouse, you can use technology to get that all together and assemble it at the right production line and get it going. That will tremendously save your time. I'm not going to go into detail because I know that the panel already discussed this, and Nal from our company already talked a whole lot about this. All right? Now, how do we envision building this smart factory? Where do you go from the things that you have in the factory to connecting that to the applications that you have? So you have, as you can see, between the things and what you want to achieve, there are few blocks that you want to look into. And these could be, I don't want to go into individual products. There are various products that will help. But what I want to achieve, or what I want to tell you here, is that it's just not a device or a single vendor that can build this entire manufacturing automation or factory wireless or security. It's in collaboration with yourself. It's in collaboration with our partner that we can enable you to get to the operational efficiency, to get to using that abundant, rich data that you have. If you see the connected factory applications, now that's a layer where you have a lot of the global applications that you're seeing, the Rockwells of the world, that you see that Cisco has partnered with and worked with many clients. Now, what about India? One of our esteemed ministers was talking about, everybody talks about global world and nobody talks about India. And they specifically mentioned that MNCs do not talk a whole lot about India. Whereas Cisco, even prior to Make in India, has always been thought of how do I address the market, the domestic market, and build products for that. We already have come out with one product for the domestic market. We are in the process of coming out with another product for the domestic market. And in this space, we are partnering with our Coaxis in India to provide you the right solutions. Now, with that said, I think we're running short on time. So I'm going to invite Tarun Mishra, who's the CEO of Coaxis, to give us more detail on Coaxis and how it can help your production line to improve efficiency and get all the data that you need. And once we are done, we have the booth. You might have already seen Cisco and Coaxis booth. We invite you to come there and learn more about it. All right, with that said, please invite Tarun Mishra.
take the podium? Huh? Because I have to keep this. Yes. I will see. Let me use freestyle. Once again, amplified. Thank you. Good morning. And what we are going to talk about is the next 10-15 minutes. That's the time I have been given. So I'm trying to simplify the way we look at manufacturing, and we believe that that's a very powerful way of looking at manufacturing. We all have the experienced morning panel discussion, a lot of queries, questions, and concerns. Some of them how technology and how Coaxis is going to address and will address. So as you see that below Coaxis, if you see it's the intelligence differentiator. Let me start with there. So I kept wondering for a quite long time that how do you define intelligent? Who is intelligent? Correct? And those who are intelligent, how have they become intelligent? What do they do to come in the quote of bracket of being intelligent? So it's all about, I simplified it the way I look at it. Intelligence is all about being analytical, taking decisions at the right time, taking right decisions at the right time, and for that you will have to be quite analytical. In the process, by default, you become efficient. So that's the other observation, that intelligent people or intelligent system by default are efficient one, usually, unless it's a wrongly perceived intelligence. So this is the core basis of defining and simplifying the whole manufacturing. Manufacturing, if you look at we'll focus on the plant activity only to begin with. The complex process, machineries, people, material flow, so many decisions has to be taken, engineering issues, raw material issues, cost, quality, performance, everything, utilities. So it's a complex dynamics on the floor, what happens. How can we look at it in a very, very simpler way, in a very, very rightful way, and very, very efficient way? That's the key, and that's the basis of the solution which we are going to talk about in next 5 to 7 minutes. Before, actually we go and talk about the solution, let me quickly take you in a quick 1 minute. If you look at the evolution of manufacturing world, we were all labor intensive some time back. That point of time, competition, there was no meaning of competition. So it was all, people have to engage themselves to do something. Few of them are doing something for the society, and few of them are entrepreneurs. So it's a very labor-intensive era, and you are doing what you are doing. Things changed, world changed, dynamics changed. We moved to phase 2, wherein, capital started becoming more and more accessible, economies of scale, competition, price, market dynamics, things started changing, and that's where the reorganization of the manufacturing evolution, next phase of manufacturing, where you started thinking about productivity, efficiency, automation. That's where the automation era came, and I'm talking about whether it's a West or here, it remains same. Post which, then second, parallelly, the other dynamics also started prevailing, that now after automation, again, alone automation is not going to take care of each and every problems of our floor. And that's where your best practices, whether it's the TPM, TQM, Six Sigma, Lean, theory of constant, say whatever, all those practices were prevalent, and we started adopting those as well while we were accepting automation on the floor. That's where, in fact, we are. That's where we stand today in 2014 as we speak. Next what? And that's the whole question is, what the world of manufacturing is going to be from here. And that is where we are saying the next era of manufacturing is all about real-time distributed decision making, and that's where the intelligence comes. We are saying that today there are two languages which exist in any manufacturing company: the language of top management and the language of people in the field. While the one language talks in, I have invested 1,000 crores in making and creating a plant. Where is my ROI? How much I am producing every day? Why am I not producing every day? That's what their language, their thinking pattern is. While if you go on the floor and you talk to the people on the floor, their language is, the downtimes, material not available, engineering issues, utility plant is disturbed. So this is completely two different languages we are talking about. The field is stuck up in operational world, while top management is living in financial world. That is the big gap. We are saying, how do you fuse these two gaps? How do you fuse the financial world or the financial thinking of some team or the top management with the operational thinking of my field people? And once I do that, then I am bringing the harmony in thinking. I am closing the gap between the top and the bottom at the plant. I am enabling people at the floor to accept and to appreciate what is chairman's and CEO's and the top management's view about the plant, correct? Because once perception changes, perspective changes, the whole action starts. So first thing is that how can we make everyone on the plant floor see plant as not a material moving engine or not a material processing engine, but it's a cash generating engine. Once I have that view, world changes, trust me. That's where we are saying that in order to do that, we have to do something. What are those something? Okay, before we go to the next slide, very important point is, as I said that where we stand today is the stage 3, circle 3. So we have plants with very good automation, and we also have good people and good practices on the floor. So we might have, Six Sigma experts and Lean experts and Kaizen experts and so on and so forth. Now, one thing we must take a note here. All these practices which we are, following today in India, in context of Indian manufacturing, had already been practiced in Japan and Germany and West in 80s and 90s, which is something we should note, because Kaizen or Six Sigma or all that practices were followed and practiced by advanced manufacturing world 20-25 years ago, which India is trying to do and trying to adopt it today, or in last few years, of course, they have done. But the point is, by doing that, by going that path, by taking the following, the path of what advanced market has done, is only taking you or making you grow incrementally. And you are still following, you are not leading. The point is, how can you lead? You cannot lead by following what advanced market did in 80s and 90s, which we must accept and be receptive about. That's where the whole thinking is coming, that how can we leapfrog, and that's what the point we are talking about. How can we leapfrog and not just grow incrementally and not just progress incrementally? So we have to do something. What are the challenges? We are saying that, efficiency. We are all talking about the supply chain. Again, very, very operational and material view. My sourcing all the way to the end consumption. What about the information supply chain? Information supply chain, which is originating at the machine, because in manufacturing plant, each and every machine is generating an information. And the decisions which are being taken either by the plant management or by the top management are usually, they are either physically far, or in terms of time, there is a huge latency. So something which is happening on the floor today, I would come to know as a plant head probably 1 day later. What do I do with that? Damage is done, right? So we are talking about how can we get rid of the latency or the inefficiency in the information supply chain. How can you eliminate it? That is where the biggest efficiency is hiding. And we have to explore that. Then we are saying that how can you make a person, operator on the floor, act as if an expert would do. In the morning, we were talking about, skill and competence building exercise. Again, it's not going to be addressed by a conventional skill and competence building, right? I mean, you cannot, if the 8th pass, 10th pass, 12th pass operator on the floor in various industries, I mean, you cannot make them champion overnight by way of a physical or conventional training and skill building. So there has to be a different technology and tool which makes them expert in a minute. Like Google is a tool which makes us expert on any damn subject on the earth. If not expert, at least much better than, otherwise I am. Television in our house makes us much more, expert on various other things. I take the favorite example that, in our days, 20 years back, if somebody would ask me, what is a googly in cricket, those who follow cricket, what is googly? And I had no explanation when I was young, as a kid. Today, 5-year-old son would explain you what googly is. Have we sent them to any skill development and cricket coach and a cricket academy? No. There is a television in your, in your hall, wherein every ball is being analyzed by experts, commentator, and is being debated, discussed. 5-year-old kid, it becomes very simple to know what googly is, which probably in 20s I couldn't know. So the point is, we have to understand the power of tool. We have to break free from the conventional notion and the dogma that, only classroom training is the training, and, we have to think out of the box and make every people on the floor expert in no time by giving them an intelligent and smart tool. We'll talk about what that tool is. That's what the whole solution is, but I'm trying to set the context here. Third is, how can I know about my plant, everything about my plant, at any time, by everyone, correct? And, how can I make it happen? So, for example, if I'm a plant head, and somebody asks me, can you tell me that in last 10 minutes in your plant, where is the maximum value loss happening, and why, and how much? I have no answer today. I may be a $1 billion manufacturing company. I may have most sophisticated machineries and processes on the floor. I might have IITs and IIMs guys following the best practices like TPM, TQM, Six Sigma, and so on and so forth. But today's any plant, do we have that plant in India wherein if I ask a plant head, in last 30 minutes, I don't want to know last quarter, I don't want to know last week, I don't want to know yesterday. I want to know now. In last 30 minutes, how much money we have lost on the floor, why, where, and what is to be done for it. That is the world we are going into. Because everything, if you look at our life, everything is changing. We want to talk to our son, wife, daughter, boss, everything happens now. I don't have to go to a telephone booth to book a call tomorrow, right? If I have to chat, it happens now. If I have to communicate, it happens now. Then why decisions is not being taken now? That's the point is. So in order to be taken decision, first thing, I need to know now. So we are saying that how can I know 360 degree of my plant now? That's a big gap which we have to address. How we are addressing this gap? So Covaxis and Cisco, today we will give you live demonstration of this system. We have a model plant set up outside. It's a symbolic representation of the plant where we have put some reactor. The reactor is generating data. The data is being collected using Cisco's 819 box, through which data is going to an analytics engine, our Covaxis analytics engine. The data is being captured and analyzed in real-time basis every second by second basis, and all business KPIs, that what is the efficiency of my plant or equipment, what is the cycle time of my plant or any given batch, how much electricity consumption a particular machine has done in last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, and so on and so forth. Exact. It's not an average. It's the exact detail of each and every business metrics which is relevant for me to run the plant is happening in real-time basis. I will show you live demo, but how it works is, so you may have N equipments on the floor. All of them are connected through, we call it LIU, Local Interpreting Unit, which is, we have, partnered with Cisco, and we are using now Cisco's router and switches. We are leveraging that. Our software sits on top of it. It collects data in real time, second by second. Hence, it becomes a big data. It goes to analytics engine, wherein in second by second, I am calculating various business KPIs, and it is being delivered and rendered to all stakeholders, right from the operator to the CEO of the company, at the desired frequency which they would like to know. So, at the plant level, you can have a different relevant KPI. At the CEO level, there will be different KPI. At the line manager level, there will be a different set of KPIs. For the operator level, it will be different set of KPIs. So we'll have all these KPIs are pre-configured, and one can see that what is relevant for me at any given moment and how much money I am losing. Same way, at the enterprise level, this is how it will look like. So you can have multiple sites across the world. Each one of them are network connected. And that's where you see the global dashboard, which will allow us to know everything, do quick benchmarking, where is my financial bottleneck, not the operational bottleneck. Because if you look at, and you all are coming from manufacturing industries, you would know better than me that the perceived bottleneck in the plant versus at any given point, if you look at where is my financial bottleneck, you will always see that there are different areas which are becoming problem at different point of time. So I'm losing money at 9 o'clock, let's say in my reaction. At 10 o'clock, my packing line becomes an issue because of downtime, breakdown, or whatsoever. So what is happening that the financial losses and the financial bottlenecks are shifting dynamically across my plant. How do I know at any given point of time as an engineering guy? How do I know as a plant guy? And that is what precisely it happens. And I get to know the metrics like this, highest WIP. And we know WIP inventory now. It's not a 3 months, once in 3 months. It's not average out. Precise WIP inventory at any given moment in your plant is known through the system. Worst 5 performing section, top 5 performing section, which plant is doing better, which plant is doing good against the benchmark, and so on and so forth. Our analysis had been through, we have done 24 implementation at more than 24 customers. Each one of them were billion-dollar companies. Each one of them are the best of the best plants being managed and run. Our analysis that the cost of unknown, the irony with our life is that we don't know what we don't know. Correct? If we know what we don't know, things changes. Now the problem is, how do you know what you don't know? That's the chasm, that's the dilemma. How do I know that what I don't know? But whatever be the matter, the fact is, the cost of not knowing is huge. And we believe on our manufacturing plan that I understand my plant left, right, and center. I have seen many plant heads and operation heads and manufacturing heads. They would say, I laid the first brick of this plant, so I know everything about this plant. And then I would ask a simple question, sir, in last half an hour, how much dollar you are losing in this plant? And he has no answer. Now that itself, that's something which we do not know, has a huge impact. And that cost can go all the way up to 50% of your variable cost, conversion cost. Benchmark. Current method and technique of benchmarking your system, your plant capacity, rated capacity, utilities cost, and so on and so forth, versus a scientific way of doing it will do an adjustment of up to 15%. We have seen it happening in the best of the best plant. So if somebody says that, look, my asset utilization is already 98% or 85% or 90%. What more you want me to do? What more you expect me to give you? You put such systems and you will see sudden correction of your benchmark, which was 98, suddenly you start seeing it's hovering around 80 or 75. Because the right technique of measurement has not been employed in current